Are we stepping into the Naraverse?
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere.
Before I get into this review of Josh Howard's Dead at 17 Kill Day, I wanted to let everybody know that the books of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog are now available in paperback and digital format at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. And right now you can pick up all 4 of the books of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog, such as John Haynes' Illuminati, Isis, Dark Incubus, Esteem, Horror in the Hamptons, and the refreshed Isis, Amari's Revenge. You can get all 4 of these books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and you can also get them in other digital formats on other digital booksellers like Draft2Digital and Google Play or other online booksellers. And you can also pick up my first full comic, John Haynes, at Death's Door on Lulu.com. And you can pick this book up for the same price that it was on the 2022 Kickstarter. Now, I've been a fan of Josh Howard's art ever since I saw it on the internet about 7 or 8 years ago. And I've always loved Josh's style because it's very bold and dynamic and just pops off the page. And he draws some of the most attractive women in comics. And you can see that right here on this cover of Dead at 17 Kill Day, where Nara and Hazy are posed real sexy and showing off those cakes in the back. And Josh Howard's art is just so bold and dynamic. One of the things I've always wanted to have was a commission of 2 of my characters in the SJS Direct universe. I always saw Josh doing Isis and Spinsterella, and I always thought he would really make a great pinup of both of those characters that would pop. Now, the only thing that keeps me from asking Josh to do that commission yet is the fact that I'm still trying to figure out what kind of pose that I want to see those characters in before I ever ask him to do that commission, if he would want to do it. Now, as I've been looking at Josh's art and really enjoying his comics such as T-Bird and Throttle, a Kickstarter came up for Dead at 17 Kill Day, and I had to put in a pledge for it because the Dead at 17 comic basically was where Josh got his start way back in the early 2000s, and this was the comic that basically put Josh on the map in the comic book industry and showed everybody how talented an artist he is. Now, it looks like Josh is coming back to the Dead at 17 storyline that basically I think wrapped up a couple of years ago, and he's coming back and showing off how much he has grown in his craft as not only an artist, but also grown as a writer, and that was shown to me in the fantastic T-Bird and Throttle series where he took on the Moon Men, and the T-Bird and Throttle series where T-Bird took on the 8 Men, 2 very fantastic stories, and Josh's ability to tell stories has basically taken it to the next level with those 2 series. And I love T-Bird and Throttle versus the Moon Men because it just had that great Hitchcockian style of storytelling where it was just a lot of suspense and intrigue. And I love T-Bird and Throttle versus the 8 Men because it was just a whole lot of fun. And that's what got me excited for Dead at 17 Kill Day, where Josh is revisiting the characters of Nara and Hazy, who we saw when he first started doing comics. And this time he's really brought these characters back and brought brand new life into Nara and Hazy in Dead at 17 Kill Day. And the title Kill Day is a play on Nara's last name, Kill Day, because Nara's last name is Kill Day and she's Nara Kill Day. And this story, while it says it's Kill Day, brings brand new life to the Dead at 17 franchise. Now, Dead at 17 Kill Day is a brand new itineration of the Dead at 17 characters, and this one basically is like a brand new entry point into the world of Dead at 17. So that's one of the things that I really like about this comic. You're getting a jumping on point for these characters in a brand new story, and this brand new story basically is one that readers won't get confused with as related to these old characters, and really brings you into the world of Dead at 17 with a fantastic entry point from start to finish. Now, with this Dead at 17 Kill Day, again, what we're getting is a new take on these old characters, and as I was reading this comic, it really reminded me a lot of what I was doing back in 2005 when I was writing The Temptation of John Haynes, because back in 2005, I was looking to try to showcase my skills, and I got a chance to really show how much I had grown as a writer by going back to the old character of John Haynes, a character I created way back in 1990, and when I did it in 1990, I didn't really have the skills that I had in 2005, and I finally got a chance to really tell a story that basically defined that character and gave that character a mission and direction that would really show how well done the character could be. And the same thing happens here with Josh's Dead at 17 Kill Day. I mean, when he started out in the early 2000s, he was starting out on his own and investing his own money into making this comic, and he was just starting out with what he knew at the time. But over the course of time from 2000 to 2024 or so, he's really grown in his craft, and we see that growth in Dead at 17 Kill Day, where we see Josh's art becoming more bold and dynamic, and we also see that he's become a great storyteller, something we don't really see with a lot of comic artists. I mean, some comic artists can tell stories with pictures, but Josh is a master of telling a story with both pictures and words, because the foundation of a good comic is the script, and that really shows as related to this comic when you open up the splash page. Now, the splash page shows us Hazy, Nara's friend, and shows Hazy holding out her hand to help her friend. And I love this splash page because it really shows a lot of story in just a single image. I mean, this single image of the concerned Hazy holding out her hand, and the contrast of the cheerleader who's popular and the jocks laughing at her. I love that contrast because, again, it's powerful storytelling. Really just brings you into the image and really shows you that there's some action going on. And again, does a good job of answering those three critical questions that really are the focus of this first comic. Who is the main character? What do they want? And most importantly, why should we care? I mean, with Hazy holding out her hand to her friend, Nara, who is on the second page, this does a great job of really opening up the story and, again, establishing the conflict as related to the first and second page. And that's a good build into a comic, because I like the way we came in. We've got Hazy holding out her hand to Nara, and then we've got the people being cruel to them, and then the bond of friendship between Nara and Hazy, and then we've got Simon, who was supposed to be, I believe, Hazy's brother, and the person who leads to the tragedy of her being dead at 17. Again, great opening and great entry point into this comic, and lets us just get right into the action, and follows a rule that I always have, that you really want to get that story told in the first 3 to 5 pages so that the reader can get into the book. And Josh really just gets you into this book almost immediately. And as we go from the 3rd page to the 4th page, we see Nara falling into the abyss as related to her soul. So we see that there's some, again, depth and layers as related to this story as we're entering her death and again coming into the afterlife. And this afterlife being something of a dark abyss that basically leads to her, again, having to deal with all of these dark souls and all of this dark spirituality. All of it really starts to build very nicely. And again, Josh does this with just a few different panel styles and images, and it just really pops off the page, just really draws you in. This is what good art and storytelling are. And I don't want to spoil too much of the book, but when we get to this point, we see that death is not the end of life, and that's something I talked about in John Haynes at Death's Door, that death is not the end of life. And when it comes to the spirit, there's a lot more going on. And that's what I love about this double page spread that I call the Naraverse, because it's basically taking you into seeing that there's more to life than everything. And again, I love this fantastic double page spread. Just really bold and dynamic art. I mean, when I look at Josh's art in this whole page, it really shows how much he's grown in his craft to the point where I see him on the level of legends like Neil Adams, George Perez, and John Byrne and Todd McFarlane. I mean, I just look at this page and it really just shows how he's up on that level and how much he's evolved in his craft. And we really see from all of these different styles, again, that he started up with and he started to evolve. And then we start to see the Dead at 17 short film and other things. We just see how much he has grown as an artist and grown as a writer. And I'm really excited for this retake on Dead at 17. I'm really excited to really read this comic, because with Josh's skills on this level right now, where I see him up there being a legendary comic artist, I really think that this is going to be a masterpiece that's really going to be up there with Kingdom Come. I mean, this one really looks, again, strong. I mean, this whole first issue does what a first issue is supposed to do. A first issue is supposed to introduce us to the characters, introduce us to what the characters want to do, and most importantly, draw us in so that we can care. And the last page, and I don't want to spoil this comic, really takes us into the whole concept of what I call a Naraverse, and really reminds me a lot of the Spider-Man movie Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, that's what was building up on that double page spread I showed you. And I really am excited for seeing the next Dead at 17 comic. It's supposed to be coming next year in 2025. And again, like with Sister Mercy, I'm counting down the days in anticipation of picking up that issue, whether he puts it on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. And I look at this book, and again, this was the book that started Josh's career, and it looks like it's going to be the book that basically defines his career. I mean, when I look at the art here, again, you look at this cover and you just see how far Josh has grown in his craft. I mean, the attractive women with the great cakes, I will say, on this cover, and the just again dynamic design, and just pops off the page. And again, the art pops off the page as related to the flash of things, but the story has just such great substance, and says such great substance that, again, you just get drawn in, and you just get drawn into the story, and you want to see more of this story as related to Nara's spiritual journey, and are we going on a journey of different worlds as related to Nara's death being this great mystery. I mean, really solid storytelling that does what great mystery story and suspense storytelling does, answers questions but has you asking more questions. So when I look at this comic again, I see an artist again coming into his craft and taking his craft to another level. And I definitely highly recommend you pick up Dead at 17 Kilday, because this book basically breathes brand new life into Nara Kilday's story, and it's a fresh, exciting new direction for these characters that really shows you how much Josh has grown in his craft as a writer and an artist. And I know how hard it is to do both of those things, because I'm not that great of an artist. That's why I hire great artists to go, again, design my covers. But I am, as a guy who has been writing for over 20 years, I can tell you, again, it's hard to get your craft up to this level. It takes years of studying, research, polishing, and reading books like Sid Field's screenplay and Robert McKee's story, and reading lots of great books. It takes a lot of work to get on that level as a writer, and it takes a lot of years to get your skills up to that point. So I was really excited about Josh's art in this comic, but I was more excited about his writing, because it really is really evolving, and again, I just look at the storytelling here, and it's just again on another level. And I just can highly recommend you get Dead at 17 Kill Day, because it's one of the best comics of 2024. And I would say that again, this is one of those books that you definitely want to pick up, because it's going to be a classic, and it's going to be one of those books that people are going to be talking about for a long time, because again, the storytelling here is just absolutely fantastic, and I just like looking at these cakes, and I look forward to the day where I can get a Josh Howard commission of Isis and Spinsterella, because that's something I would love to have. But until then, I'm just, again, seeing Josh's art and storytelling get to this next level. And I can't wait to pick up the next issue of Dead at 17 and the next T-Bird and Throttle story. Now, again, if you want to pick up the books of the SJS Direct 2024 catalog, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and you can also find them at Draft to Digital, Google Play, and other online booksellers by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to help me be able to make the next SJS Direct comic and be able to pick up other great comics like Josh Howard's Dead at 17 Kill Day and other great indie comics so I can review them on the channel, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.